Let there be light, and there was light. Okay, the words of the said God, Mother Eve, the Kundalini, we called all this into being right now, into all like witnesses, inspirational cues, whatever it is that they do, they have contributed to our makeup. So we call into their presence and their functions. So we call upon waters, which is very transparent, and that is Mother Eve, of course. Everything is of Mother Eve, but we are calling these forth. And revelation, of course, revelation is that which reflects and reveals and revels, of course. Lots more to revelation. And we call upon those, of course, Mother Eve, primary or primary caregiver. We call Mother Eve to really reveal to us that which she wants us to understand and know, because that's why she has been calling us home. Come, I want you to understand. It's not about his story, it's about her story right now. So basically, this is what Mother Eve is saying, that everything has cycles. And of course, the spirit of the gods that we were created by, in essence, have deposit their attributes in our makeup. And of course, that means that we have got the tendency to dramatize and look to in fact go a long way about, which I call it sightseeing, because I kind of like that myself, to understanding that we have to come back home. So it's as if we had been on a vacation, but now the vacation is ended, and Mother Eve is saying it's time to come back, and reminding us it's time to pack up and come back home. So that's what happens. Sometimes people say they're going on vacation, and I have met people like that who went to an island that happened in St. Lucia, where I met this young lady, an American lady, who was meant to be in St. Lucia for about, in fact, I met two, for about 2 weeks, and it has been their home now, and had not bothered to return at all. So we can see that that's what happens in these cases. So Mother Eve has really informed us that we are ending a cycle, and of course we will in the seventh thousand or 700 or 7,000 year end cycle, because the cycles, they go in seven, they go in numbers. So each number, or each number in itself, has a cycle. So five, for instance, have its own cycle, but there is, in that cycle is also six. Now I'm just seeing, for instance, why we have again all these numbers here, numbers from 1 to 9, and however underneath each column we end up with 639, 639, 639, and that of course is a segment of, we have three segments here, or three sets of 369, which in essence means that we have three sets of nines and three sets of sixes. Of course, 6 and 9 is really one and the same. The other thing that I have seen so far is that how we have seen how 4, or 5 rather, is also 6. In the numbers we have been doing, we see that 5 is the only number that that gives us number 6 directly when we do the numerical value of the word 5. So basically, if we do the numerical value for the word 2, which gives us 13, but 13 actually is on my board is actually 9. Wow. So 13 is actually 9, but we see that we'd have to do the numerical value for the word 9 and get 6. If we do the numerical value for the word 1, for 1, it gives us 7. Of course, to get 7, we'd have to do the numerical value for the word 7, and 7 gives us 20. which is 2. And of course, if we do the numerical value for 20, then that gives us 26, which is 8. And 8 gives us 4. And 4 gives us 6. So basically, we would have 3 here, but this is still not directly in essence of 1 3. So of course it'd be interesting to see how we could do this otherwise. So if we do the numerical value for the word 3, it gives us 11. Of course, we'd have to do the word 11 to get 9. That's how we have 9 11. Okay, if we do the numerical value for the word 6, for instance, it gives us 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. Of course, 7, it shows a long way in acquiring this 9. We would have to do the numerical values a long way to do that. And of course, or for 6, 6 gives us 7. And the numerical value for the word 7 again is really 2. Of course, we'd have the same thing which we have here for number 1. So 8 and 1 share something very much in common right here. And of course, the numerical value again for 9, how we've got here 9. So 9, if we did the numerical value for the word 9, we would have 6. So basically we have 9 here. But what we see for here is that 9 and 6 here are the numbers in these columns that really stand out more. But basically 5 is showing its true character here. This is why it's always showing men. It is MEN. It's also has this IN here. It also is the only column where we have a where we have a word that makes sense with the following the other letter underneath the sacrifice. So for instance, SJ does not really make any sense, or CL, which is the crimson light, R, and this would be D. So RD does not make sense, but IN is here. So IN is central. Now this is what I'm thinking. This is not by chance. This is just happening. And of course, 5 happens to be the middle column. This is where we are required to come to be able to illuminate our third eye. So again, IG does not make sense. CH, nor does EI. Okay, so we can see here, for instance, with the sacrifice template, it's proving very robust in the sense that it is showing like no biasness in showing that really there is a very good or a very symbolic function happening right here. This is the place to be, so to speak. Okay, so the place to be, of course, we are talking about number 5, which is the snake, which is the kundalini, the pineal gland, the pyramid, the open, for key, for anchor. It's everything a mother could be, basically. So that's why Mother Eve is calling us home to be here. And we have seen how this L comes into play here. So this L, I have done this on 2 presentations, which show that the L is really like the number 11 or 2 ones, but it forms L. And how that when we do the numerical value for 2, for instance, well, it has the numerical value of 3, the L, but when we do the numerical value for 3, it gives us 11. So we could say that 2 is really 3. And this is why it is good for us to know our numbers. Okay, so this is the sacrifice template that really is being so wonderfully instrumental in teaching us and helping us to understand more of the scriptures. So again, just to add here, if we add 5 plus 6, That gives us that 11 that we are talking about right here. Now, we were talking about earlier on about the word, the phrase or the spell of Mother Eve when Mother Eve says, "Let there be light." And I have been looking at, of course, Genesis of chapter 1. What I have discovered, again, talking about the 369, which is so delicious. And it's that kind of thing when you get the essence of it, but you want to ensure that you're delivering it right, because it, as I say, it's so delicious, and I'm just hoping everyone else gets the essence of it. So the first three entries, which I'm going to state here, that Mother Eve, okay, so this is, let's see if we can, I may have to rewrite this, but okay. So this is let there be light. And there was let there be a firmament, and there was let the waters, and there we have let the earth, EARTH, let the earth be, okay, and let there be light, again from up and on the earth. And we have let the waters and let the earth. So the eighth one is where Mother Eve says, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness." This is where Mother Eve wants us to get to. So we have been looking at the word let. Now we see, of course, we are talking about the said God. When we speak of the said God, this is Mother Eve. Of course, adding the said God together, that gives us 15, because God is 8 and the word said is 6. Of course, it's 15. 1 5 1 5 equals 6. But when we add this together, of course, it's 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. Now, I just want to really put this there. When it is said that, I may even do another presentation and shift from where I had intended. I just feel I want to do some bite sizes that hopefully when people digest those the essence of those bite sizes, that you can have a clearer understanding of my longer videos, which of course when I get those things like let there be light, and I really want to break this down, I of course find it difficult to just do a very short video in essence to really explain what it is that I am wanting to do. So, well, back to the 369 that we have got in our in the template of the sacrifice template. Oh, okay. So back to this 369 that transpired in Genesis of chapter 1. So what happened here is that I discovered the first three entries or statements that Mother Eve made, they coincided with 369 in the Bible. So we are talking about Genesis chapter 1 verse 3, that's 3, Genesis chapter 1 verse 6, that's 6, and Genesis chapter 1 verse 9. We are talking about 369. Now what I get from this is that 369 of course, it's as if they are the vibrations that within us that we need to work with to not only expressing but also to becoming aware of who we are. So this is where our task is. So it's not so much it doesn't become like an external or physical representation of ourselves, but it becomes an internal working that is required of us to understand who we are and our makeup. That is what the essence of what I have got from this. Because Here we see, for instance, as I have said in the template to numerology, in the series of template to numerology and so on, and you would also get this on Introduction to Crime Queens YouTube channel 2018, something like that, which I explain in depth about this this template. So here from 1 to 3 we are in a sack. This is, and we have revelation here. It's as if this is where we revel in all kinds of things and doctrines and conditions and beliefs, and it's like we grab onto anything that we get, and we even call it luck in certain stages, because we are not really able to make sense of it yet. But there is a stage of birthing that is also required in there, so that we can get out of that sack. Now in the middle of the sack, this is why every cycle here has a cycle in it. So basically you can imagine there is a tube, YouTube I call it, and it goes in like this. So it goes like this, and in the middle of the tube here, for this one, for instance, this is where the agreement takes place. The agreement had taken place with the Last Supper, Christ and the disciples. So this is where the symbol of agreement, the bucket of wine or the bottle of wine or the basket of bread or whatever it is, there is where the jazz thing had happened. Under the jazz, of course, we have 3. We also have R, which means 9. That in itself already tells us from the onset that we are going to be faced with 9. So 9, whatever it is we take, we have to birth it, or whatever it is, you are what you eat, you are what you think, you are what you act, right there. So this is what is happening in the jazz state. Now another thing that I think I have done this with Revelation, but to show that R, which is beginning, and N is end. So when we do the numerical value for the word beginning, it equals 9, because R is 9, and of course end is actually 5. Of course N at the end of Revelation is 5. That's why Revelation is really showing us its makeup right there. Revelation is really showing us so much. Okay, and of course it has reveal, it has late in it as well. So even if you're late, Revelation is going to show you. And it has I have done a presentation that shows all the words that consist of Revelation, or that constitute Revelation. Okay, likewise, I have done that with sacrifice. Now, back to 369. Now, what we did understand with going by the famous Nikola Tesla, of course, saying that anyone who's got the keys to who can master the art of 369, of course, has the keys to the universe. The universe, of course, we have learned, it's really, we are the universe. We are, everything happens in us, everything takes place in us. And this template is really showing us that when we add these 3, for instance, 1 to 3, that gives us 6, and 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, that also gives us 6, because it comes to 18. No, it comes to 15, and the other one comes to 24. So we are dealing with 6, 15, 24. These are numbers that I think I just feel I need to really make a note of that. So it is 6, 15, and 24. Now, again, in that series, we see 15 is really the middle number, and that is what coincides with the word said. Look, that is, we are talking about Mother Eve. Now, of course, it's the word said, which consists of 4 letters. Now, I always look at this as the ID. and we see the word aid as well. It also is AIDS, AIDS, as in the condition, the medical condition. And so, but we see here the S is of the serpent. If we add the numerical values together on this, we see that becomes 15, of course. Now, back on the again, I really want to draw this the meaning I feel is going to help us understand the 369. So the 369, but continuing on 369, what I also discovered on the 9th, from the first 9 entries of Mother Eve, of course we have that's in Genesis of chapter 1. So in Genesis of chapter 1 and to verse 28, we have, I am hoping I've got this correct, we have Mother Eve. So there is 8, let there be light. So 1, 2, 3. And God said, I'm just trying to work out. Oh yes, so it's and God said. So we have this, and God said, S-A-I-D. This is how we know that the God who speaks, the God who utters words, is really Mother Eve. That's the waters, because words are waters and they flow like waters, and they are current, or they are current. Even if we write them down, they are current. Whoever's reading them at that time is current. So here we have 8 plus 6, that gives us 14, and of course 1 plus 4 equals 5. Okay, if we were to add this 1 as this equals 1, we would see is 6. And of course, but 5 is that Mother Eve, this is where Mother Eve had first spoken, when Mother Eve said, let there be light. Let there be. Let's just do be. Let there be. For the first 3, again, the first 3 words, let there be. That's a statement right there. Okay. And so we have seen that the first letter is crucial to showing us how it is not only just 3, but it also is 2. So in actual fact, 2 and 3 is 5. So Mother Eve is showing us that these 2 strokes, which I call it 2 strokes here, in this letter, as I said before, it has 1 motion, it has 2 strokes, and it has 3 points. 3 points. So in actual fact, we can see that it holds a value of 6 right there in that makeup right there. That's what Revelation is revealing to us. Now, but again, so we have verses, this is where, and God said, this is the bit we want to concentrate on. So when we divided the very first 3 sets of 3s in Mother Eve's statements, the and God said, so we saw that there was 10 of those, and God said. So there were 8 lettings. We have covered that. That's where Mother Eve said, let there be. So there were 8 of those, where the last one is, let us make man. The last one is us. But then after that, we have from verse 1, chapter 1, verse 28, there is the stage where this is where Mother Eve said, and God, it is said, and God said, behold, I have given you all things. So behold, this is on number 9, the 9th entry, we could say, or the 9th contract. Basically, the contracts were ended on 8, because 8 is the cycle right there. 8 is where things get set. It's like the cycle ends on 7, and whatever that is being gathered around, basically when you pack your case and you get ready, you're set to go. This is what Mother Eve is calling us to do. Get ready, get set to go into the 8th dimension. So the 8th dimension, we need to have this match. We need to be a match for that 8th dimension. Here again, like Emmett Fox, we have to be conscious that we are matching with that which we are wanting to be. So that's why Mother Eve is calling us, and she wants to, it's as if she's not as if, this is where Mother Eve is saying, behold, I have given you everything. It's like your parent on, God forbid, so to speak, on her dying bed, or wants to pass on the legacy, because it was that verbal thing that used to be done. That's how we learn it to be with Abraham. But of course, people have used the structures or the principles. They have used the principles to monetize those things. So for someone to make a will now, instead of it just being directly a verbal thing that would be said, which is the said God, now you have lawyers and secretaries and all kinds of people have to give their stamp, and they put their signature and their share, and claim their share of that which was meant to be passed on to you. So now, but that's what Mother Eve wants to avoid happening to us, that you do not have to find yourself in a lot of bureaucracy to get what is meant for you. So she is saying, come, I want to teach you, I want to show you how to get to this point. I want to show you how to get to this point, because this is the kingdom. This is the kingdom. When you get to the kingdom, of course, the kingdom is like the crown chakra. So when we do the numerical value for crown, CROWN, which is 5, 5, 6, 9, 3. Here we have the 6, 9, 3 again. So this is 20. This is 28. 2 plus 8 is 10. Now the word kingdom is also 10. I won't bother doing that now. So we can see, so it's the crown chakra. We are ready to, in fact, Mother Eve is wanting to place the crown on your head. She's ready to say, come, it's time for me to pass my crown on to you. So, and behold, I have given you. And she repeats that in Genesis of chapter 1. That is repeated, meaning that when something is said once and it's said twice, it's more or less said 3 times in Genesis of chapter 1. She more or less, she speaks those times there. Okay. Now, so what I also wanted to say is that in these the first 3 words that statements Mother Eve makes, they all the verses are 1. Yes, that's the references I'm going to give you. 1 plus, okay, and this is 6, and this is 9. So when we add this together, of course, this gives us 9. 9 and 9, 18 plus 1 plus 8 is 9. Okay, that gives us 9. Then the other one, the other reference is 1, 1, 1, 11, and then 1, 14. Of course, 14 is 5, where we speak about. Now, of course, I would like you to see that as well. 14 is where Mother Eve had spoken about. Mother Eve is really showing that we are of 14 gods right there. So we could see that the reference of 14 is here. And when we do the numerical value for the name Eve, or the function of Eve, it actually equals 14 as well. So we can see, and it's on the fifth entry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the fifth entry. So that is not coincidental at all. This is a numerical construct we are working with. So that's why it's important that we really understand this. Then we have 1, 2, 0. Of course, I have spoken about how 2 is really foundation, and we see how 2 is also 3 in the word let. So we could see how that is. When we add these together, of course, this is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. So here we have 9 as well. So this is 9. This is 9. And the third is 1 plus 2, 4. And then 1, 2, 6. And 1, 2, 8. We can see they're in here. So these are all even numbers, like we would say, and there is a pattern right here like it were there. The pattern is not as visible there, but it is more visible here and there. Now let's look at this. So this is 6, this is 8, this is 8, and this is 1. So if we were to add these together, this is also 18. So 18, 1 plus 8 is 9. So we have 999. Now I would like to pay attention to these numbers. So we have 186, and then we have 252. So 252, with what we haven't got here is like 4 and 3. Well, 4 is the only number. 4 and 7 is the numbers missing here. Okay, so the last verse of Genesis of chapter 1 verse 2, 29, it equals 2. So basically we have 10 entries again, 3, 6, 9, 10. We have 10 entries of Mother Eve in Genesis of chapter 1 right here. So yes, and I think, and that tells us as well that it ties in, not only it's 10 here, but it ties in with the first word that Mother Eve utters, which is 352. Of course, that equals 10. And so we can see Mother Eve is really 10. 10, and when we do the numerical value for 10, TEN, of course, 255, that equals 12. We can see how time came in about this. That in fact was time. Okay, so as we have looked at number 1, we have looked at number 1, how number 1 is really 10. So in here we could see that 1 plus 9 here there's the 10 in the word let. That comes very very prominent there. So this would be 5 here for E, and 2, of course, that would be 7. So we see that 9, 7 would be showing here. 4 plus 3 as well, that would be 7. And 5 plus 9, that would be 9. So we see here, for instance, that seemed to be, let's just do the others. 3 plus 5, that's 8 in the middle. And 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. So it looks like an 8 plus 1 is 9. So basically we don't have down here, if we were to add revelation, we do not have any even numbers coming apart from the middle one, which is 8, where Mother Eve ate of the fruit of good and evil. So basically, or the tree of knowledge. So 3 plus 5 is 8. That tells us about, there is no mistake in that Mother Eve did eat, and Mother Eve is qualified to teach us how to eat of the fruit of knowledge, so we can know and what to take on, what to let go, and to prepare us for this new dimension. The dimension is really the 5th dimension. Of course, we could also call it the 8th dimension, because basically 5 is that which is set. It is set we have done the numerical value that it's, although 5 is also 24, 2 plus 4 is 6, but we see how 6 is also 7, and so on. And this is the 7th that we are ending right now and moving into a new state. Now, Mother Eve has also told us that, as we see, I have those 3 9s that I have pointed there. Of course, 3 9s are 27, and let's put this in perspective. So we had 3 9s. So we had 3 9s is 27, because what we have done is really put these in segments of 3s, and because we have seen the magic of number 3 from the very first letter Mother Eve has given us. It's as if she has asked us to pay attention to this first letter. And as I said, it's the first letter, which is L. It's like the 7 upside down, actually. And that paying attention to that in itself is like all of Mother Eve's words and statements. It did end on the last reference, which is chapter 1 verse 29. When we add this together, 9 plus 2 equals 11. So the last entry or statement Mother Eve made equals 11. So 11 in this format tells us that everything is being doubled. Everything of creation, or everything that is spoken to create, is being doubled. That's what Mother Eve is stating right there. It's like saying there are 2 9s, because 9 or 2 birthings or 2 creations or 2 it's like everything is doubled right here. This is the message in this last one. So 2 9s are 27, 3 9s are 27, plus 2 we have 29. This is what is, so we still end up with 29. Remember that I'm talking about the 3 9s that we got in the statement after having that's the references. That's the references. So we had 3 6 9 in the first one. Then the second one we have 2 5 2 5 2. Yes. And the third one we have 6 8 1. 6 8 1. That's what we have here. Now I'm of the belief that there is a very significant message in the format of these numbers as well, like 681, 681 here, and so on. But this here isn't really showing us 369 as it came so prominently and succinctly, and in the very first 3 statements we had to pay attention to that. So the 369 really is that telling us about the cycles. So these are cycles that we need to pay attention to, and it's 3 cycles. Of course, when we add this together, gives us 9. 3 3s are 9, and we have got those three sets of 369, 369 right there. And we have seen how the number 3 shows up. So I think that is quite a breakthrough, really. I think that is really delicious. And that in itself is the message I'm getting here is saying that we are required to consciously birth newness in those 3 segments right there, which is the sac, and then we have the riff, R-I-F. Don't know if you can see this because it's slightly faded through handling, much handling. So then we have the riff, and then there's an ice stage. It almost sounds like an ice age that we have to go through here. Okay, so there's the ice, and this is IR. This is our hair. Okay, so basically, this is what we are meant to do. Mother Eve is, and we see the number 9. As I said, it's like what we need to bridge. The 9 is what helps us to bridge. It is a bridge because actually the word bridge equals 9. And we need to know the word know is like, of course, knows is the same. Know how to get to the crown chakra, to be illuminated right there in the crown chakra. Okay, of course, water has helped us quite well here. And we see that we have got, this is 5 and this is 9. Again, even the word water tells us a lot because we have 5 here and 9 here. That tells us a lot, just like it is the reflection of revelation. Water is revealing 5 here and 5. So the two ends of the numbers, this is something Mother Eve taught me, the two ends of any word speaks volume. They speak real volume. Okay, all right. Because that's the ends of the cycles or circles that needs to get together. So 5 and 9 in water, basically that comes to 14, which is Mother Eve. 9 and 5 is 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. That's the key. This is where we need to get to. Hey, the same like we have S here for sacrifice, S and E, that is 6. Of course, 6 is the word for the said God. We are talking here. And we have the same here for sacrifice. Basically, that's the wisdom Mother Eve wants to pass on to us. Now, I just said 14 a while ago. On the clock is 41 minutes. For some reason, I noticed that my eyesight have improved quite a lot lately. And I just feel, because at one time I would have to squint and look very closely there, but I noticed that there is such an improvement here. Okay, now there are lots of other things that I would love to share with you, apart from my the increase in my eyesight. But I'm really wanting to, of course, end on this lovely note that Mother Eve is really wanting us to show us about number 9. So I really want us to remember this. So we see that with number 9, it consists of the three nines, 3 threes, a 9, and the 3 segments, which is where we get freedom. The word freedom equals free. And again, that I just said on the Genesis of chapter 1 verse 29, and we can see that how 29 is 3. 29 in essence is offering us freedom. It equals free. The word free, but of course it's 2 or it's 11. I have done this to show how 11 is 9, and of course we see 3 threes are 9, but we have gone round and to see or to show how with the first letter L that has the numerical value of 3 right here, it has the numerical value of 3, and it's 29. So 29 here is really a number that I had not understood had such power or significance. So it is the first chapter of Genesis of chapter 1, and it ends on verse 29. Now, of course, if we add the 1 for the chapter, that would be 12, and that in essence would be free as well. And 10 is also free. So we can see that that verse of to end the verse or the chapter on that verse of chapter 1 verse 29, that is very symbolic. Yes, it's about numbers, people. Let's get to know our numbers. This may take us a while, but when we get to understand the functions, we will feel so much more liberated. Yes, we will indeed. Thank you. I hope you have enjoyed this, and please give us a like if you do, and a thumbs up, and share of course, to share. And I hope we are all preparing this land that we are and having our 12 tribes like Abraham, you know. Um, so, and have the garden like Eve, and not to get kicked out of the garden this time. No, no, no. We are moving into for the next 7 years. That is one cycle, and that's what I am talking about for now in this cycle. We are talking about this cycle, and we want to be ready for it, because this is where it's set, because of course number 8 is set. Number 8 is that which goes round and round. Okay, thank you for watching. Let there be light, and there was light.